What do you think of this format, and what are some areas of improvement if they decide to do this again next year?
I thought the main event second half at least was all right. I know people have very strong feelings about all the different factors that went into putting this event on, and the fact that we lost the Texas race around this time of year for something like this, and NBC really showing how high end and exclusive this club is. I'll leave the rest of that to other people. I just want to focus on the race format here for the actual event itself, and I think that I personally wasn't a huge fan. I mean, it goes back to what we talked about after the Daytona 500. The fact that you had AJ Allmendinger running faster laps by himself than the entire pack was, because the pack was trying to save fuel that much and slow themselves down that much to the point where that could happen. And that, I think, in the eyes of a lot of fans, wasn't a great look. I don't think it's ever a great look when you have drivers not going 100% to that extent. And I think it was even greater, even more apparent today on a road course where everything gets strung out, to have Colton Herta in particular going that much slower intentionally without any sort of car trouble, because the format entices you to do so to save your tires. If that's what the format asks of the drivers, I'm probably not going to be a huge fan of the format. So, again, I understand that it's billed as an all-star challenge or an exhibition race. It gives you the opportunity to trial and test different things, but that result that we got, I'm not a huge fan of. Now, in terms of the actual finish of the race, I do think it enabled Herta to put on some good moves and charge for the field, and I suppose that provided some entertainment value. But again, it's more of a philosophical thing for me. I do still have some problems with this event, and again, I think that it certainly wasn't such a great slam dunk that it became an instant classic, and we certainly have to find a regular place for this on the calendar for years to come. I think there's going to be a lot of questions being asked as we deal with the aftermath of this event for sure.
I do think there's potential for this kind of event. It's just a matter of making it work out the way it is to make some good TV. Because this is sort of a made for TV event. I just felt when you have Colton Herta, Pietro Fittipaldi, other drivers just putting around for the first 10 laps, it just sort of feels like, okay, there's a loophole that they potentially see. They're going to try to make it work. It didn't exactly work out, but it just doesn't create that kind of must-see TV people talk about where you're hooked on, see what happens. Potentially, if you're into the strategy and you just knew, well, he could do it with the tire management, but with the dirty air, that was just going to make it really hard. I think some of the areas of improvement potentially just have a little bit of a shorter races, maybe more heats, because at the end of the day, the tire degradation, it wasn't as big enough as I think some people thought, because the rumor around the paddock we heard from Jackson was people anticipated that you could do what Colton Herta did and just zoom towards the front. That didn't exactly work out. Colton Herta tried it, didn't work. I think overall, if we could see one change for this, I think it'll be best a preseason event, potentially later in a Saturday evening, so you have some of that sunset. Palm Springs area gets beautiful sunset. Can't do it in the middle of the summer. It's over 100 plus degrees there. But preseason, get people hyped up for St. Pete's. I think that was a more appropriate area, and just keep working on the format. If this is going to be an all-star race, you can even just introduce a new format almost every year until you find something that works out.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll certainly be following what the NTT IndyCar Series decides to do with this all-star race event in 2025, if they decide to bring it back. And the one thing that I'll add, I think in order to get more fans involved, it would have been nice, to like have a fan vote or something, like we see with the NASCAR all-star race, where because with some big names missed the show, just like Scott Dixon and Pato O'Ward, and knowing how popular Pato is, I think if IndyCar had a fan vote for this Thermo Club $1 million challenge, Pato O'Ward probably would have been voted into the all-star race, just something extra, just to get the fans involved.